Hello everyone, good afternoon. So for this afternoon, we'll be learning about the theory of Mr. Paulo Freire. So before that, let's get to know first who is Mr. Paulo Freire. So Mr. Paulo Freire was born in Brazil on September 19, 1921. He is a traditional upper-class boys in private high school in 1934, as well as University of Recife in Brazil as a law student. He acquired his Doctor of Philosophy thesis, Present Day Education in Brazil, 1959. He died on May 2, 1997. Freire has three foundations, namely to name, to reflect, and to act. First, let us define this. What is to name? So to name meaning named the world. According to Mr. Uh, Paulo Freire, he gave a voice to those who were oppressed, so educators who served them could better battle oppressions. Conscientization, meaning developing consciousness, but consciousness that is understood to have the power to transform reality. So meaning Mr. Paulo Freire have given so much opportunity, especially to end oppression. He is there to develop our educators to have a consciousness, not that consciousness to resist, but also uh, consciousness, especially to be aware of what is really happening in our world, so that we can fight oppression and as well as to stand for ourselves. That is the one of the thing that the foundation of Mr. Paulo Freire when it comes to name. Next up, what is reflection? So it is a dialogue and conversation. According to Mr. Paulo Freire, uh, it is the encounter between man mediated by the world in order to name the world. So in ourselves, we must learn how to develop, how to discover ourselves, especially intrinsic and extrinsic relationship, inter and intrapersonal relation. The most important thing or the role of our lives in this world is to discover who we are and what we can do. That we must first discover ourselves, our skills, attitudes, and our personality, especially our talents. I believe that all of us has a role in this world. No one is living here is like is a waste of his or her life, but everyone is living for a reason. Our existence here in this world has something to do and can create impact for the future. Recently, we can do something. We must first have to dialogue with ourselves, discover more of ourselves, to be conscious and to be aware, and thoroughly scrutinize so that we can do something. I believe everyone can do something, just like the perception of Mr. Paulo Freire, that we can do something. That starts within ourselves. A better change starts within ourselves, and that is if we have already have this change in ourselves, then we can directly give it to the people around us for a progress in development. Lastly is to act. This action is not merely the doing of something which Freire described as activism. According to him, it is not only simply action based on reflection. It is an action which embodies qualities which includes a commitment to human well-being, a search for truth, and respect for others. These enable society to act in ways which produce justice and allow mankind to flourish. Our assumptions with ourselves, when we have already done making a dialogue and conversation with ourselves, we must put it into action. As the saying goes, action speaks louder than words. So that is why, as a future educator, as an outlook of Mr. Paulo Freire, we must do something. We must not always speak, we must not always instill those things in our minds, but we must put those into action because those things would really create an impact presently and in the future. According to Mr. Paulo Freire, and it's been stated here that it is we must have a quality, uh, an action with quality, an action that would really give a good cause, a good effect for our future and also presently. Because our lives here, we are just like boarders in a boarding house or in an apartment, but we can have or we can do something to improve ourselves, to discover more of this world, and so that we can live a life with reasons, that we can do something. That is what being promulgated by Mr. Paulo here. First, we have to what? To have a to name, to reflect, and to act. Those are the foundations of the knowledge of Mr. Paulo Freire: to name, to reflect, and to act. The foundations of his or her learning, and that makes him to have more theories about education. Thank you so much, guys, for your time, for sparing your time. I hope you got something from our lesson for today about the theory discussion of Mr. Paulo Freire's theory on education. Thank you so much, and once again, have a wonderful day.